Mass Effect Andromeda is a bit of a mess. On one hand, you had an epic space RPG full of life, interesting stories, characters, great writing, all the stuff that we've come to expect from Bioware. But on the other hand, you had, let's just say, a lack of polish.
I'm getting too used to this. How long?
Weeks. Relax. You haven't missed much.
Back in the 22nd century, mankind joined up with the other major races of the Milky Way and came up with the Andromeda Initiative. The plan? To send entire arcs of people on a 600-year journey through space to set up a new home. After a lot of research, they worked out which planets would best suit life and set off after entering a long, deep cryogenic sleep. The only problem was, on arrival, things weren't quite as expected. With the designated planets being anything but habitable, it's your job as a Pathfinder to find a new home. Slowly but surely it's up to you to make the important decisions. Do you build science or military facilities? It's about making planets safer, establishing relations with new alien species, and making war with others. It's like an old episode of Star Trek. Okay, I've never seen Star Trek, but it's what I imagine it to be like.
I hope I don't regret this.
This game broke me. Almost every other RPG that I've ever played, I've managed to complete each and every side quest. But here, oh my god, the sheer number of them was simply overwhelming. I like the way that you would naturally come across a new quest. It could be just spotting an SOS flare in the distance, or noticing a mysterious character trying to scan you in the marketplace, or even a conversation that leads to someone asking for a favour. I began to dread checking my emails knowing that they'd lead to a bazillion new missions. Sure, you had your trivial ones like collecting popcorn for movie night, but some of these side quests felt as big and as full as campaigns in other games. They would go on and on but felt worthy of your time, like having to track down a patient who had escaped while contaminated with a deadly contagious disease, or stopping cyber terrorists from blowing up the Nexus space station. All had their fair share of decisions and all had consequences.
It's an astounding feat.
Makes me wonder what happens if the Jardin come back, you know? We're not the big kids on this block.
Okay, so time to address the elephant in the room here. The game doesn't look great. I think the world looks pretty, especially considering its size, but the character models, not so much. It just made things kind of awkward when they were trying to have sex. But there's also a whole host of weird glitches that just ruin the immersion. Nothing was game breaking, but just weird. Like here, I mean, I didn't edit this footage, this is actually how this cutscene looked.
You can't let him go. I think he has a sample of the virus. Just shoot him.
Again, I'm not editing this. I could overlook these problems because I was so invested in the story, but still, with recent games like Horizon and Zelda, and hell, even 2-year-old games like The Witcher 3, which not only looks a lot better, but is also big in size, I felt like they probably dropped the ball a bit here in the graphics and animation department. Combat was great, a satisfying third-person shooter with special moves that you could learn to add a bit of extra spice to the fights, and in harder difficulties it provided a nice challenge. Overall, I can recommend Andromeda, so long as you overlook its flaws and have a shitload of free time to put into it. And are pretty good at Sudokus. It's the first time I've played a Mass Effect game, so I've got nothing to compare it to, although I've heard that the original trilogy was an absolute classic. Apparently, except the ending, I don't know what's up with that. So it'll be interesting to hear how Andromeda compares. It's a worthy investment, so live long and prosper, or something like that, I don't know. Thanks for watching.
Copy that. You hear that, everyone? Shooting as fast as I can!